Hi, it's me again. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing. That was just a one-time thing. Okay, I welcomed you to the Second American Revolution last time. I told you that we won. Of course, in a certain extent, or mm, from a certain point of view, you might say that there's degrees of winning, and some people haven't won yet because they're still asleep. But that's because for certain purposes, the relationship between the state and the citizen is such that in a revolution of the kind I'm talking about, which is a revolution of ideas, every individual kind of stands in a specific relationship to the reality they're trying to deal with. In our case, everybody sort of understands that there's all this crap going down, and things look bleak, and everything is out of sorts, and depending on what you want to do, you can get pretty upset about it. Just take the healthcare issue, for example. The problem really with the healthcare issue is not so much that Congress isn't going to do anything about it, but the fact that a whole bunch of people still can't quite get it that government is broken. It doesn't work. It got corrupted, and corruption is pretty serious. We have to do something ourselves. We have to step into the situation. The American citizen has to step into the situation and do something about it, because the fact is that the real government, under our form of government, is the citizen. The Constitution begins, "We the people." And it consists of a limited grant of power to a federal government in order for certain things to be accomplished. And having given that grant of power, it became possible then for various groups to sneak in there and usurp that power. And that's, to a certain degree, what's happened. What we think of as the government in Washington has really become something more insidious, depending on how paranoid you want to be about things. But the fact is, for even ordinary people, this government doesn't work. It isn't going to work. It hasn't worked for a long time, and that's one of the things people need to wake up to. Once you wake up to it, in a certain sense, you've won the Second American Revolution, because what the heck, that's what it's all about. It's about waking up and having understanding what the true story is. And last time I introduced some ideas about the true story, and this is very helpful to people, maybe or maybe not. I can't control what people do who have some responsibility for their own thinking. I mean, if you're a citizen of the United States, you need to be a citizen. You need to take up those responsibilities and do something with it. And you only have yourself to blame if the situation gets out of whack. It's no good to blame the Republicans or the Democrats or the Libertarians or the this or that or the other thing, because in our form of government, the citizen is the key person, and to the extent that the citizen went to sleep, of course he was helped in this, but to the extent that he went to sleep, other powers, particularly powers connected to the financial institutions, crept into the situation, and they created the possibility that they could sort of do things and get away with things, and we have a kind of disaster on our hands, because the fact is that financiers aren't really interested in good government, except to the extent that it helps them. They have a very selfish point of view. They're not into we the people, they're into us the bankers. And so they came in and they made a mess, and now we have to live with it. Well, okay. This is one of those times when you get in a kind of war situation where the American character, which is what I talked a little bit about last time, the creation of the people of peoples by the genius of history, where the American character has to sort of step up and get involved, and start doing things. And of course, there's a lot of people running around saying, do this, do that. And I'm one of those people. You know, it's a big mess on some levels, but personally, I have faith in the American people. Regardless of how dark it gets in the future and those kinds of things that we can worry about, I think the American people, their character and such, is up to the task. We lived through a depression. We lived through a Second World War. We lived through a Cold War. We lived through the 60s. We lived through all kinds of things, and now we're living through what, in a sense, is what happens when you don't pay attention, or you don't pay enough attention, or perhaps you have too much faith when you shouldn't have so much faith. Government is not to be trusted. There are a lot of people that know this. Amazingly enough, with the whole Obama election, you have a whole bunch of people that continue to want to trust government, and they think that if they've got somebody who's an idealist and a good speech maker, that they're going to have good government. But there's no relationship whatsoever between those two things. Now, I'm going to do these blogs, and these blogs are going to be focused on this and that and the other thing, and then the rest of the time, if someone wants to get deeper into the situation, I wrote a couple books. Those are listed at the end, and you can read them for free, or you can go to my website and you can purchase them. You just look up Joel Wendt, and you can find out what you want to find out, depending on how deep you want to get into the situation. With these videos, I'm hoping to sort of make it a little bit easier for people who don't have a lot of time to put in it to come along and say, oh, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Maybe this guy actually does know a little bit what's going on, and I hope I do too. I think I do. It'd be irresponsible of me to do this without doing it, but I think I understand a little bit about what's going on. And anyway, let's step back a little and cover one of the points we made before, which is that the American people are the people of peoples. We were created by the genius of history by shoving together all these different groups, and in the process of this happening, we had a constitution, and then we sort of lost the powers over that constitution by the corruption of our government by money. Now we see. And we see it continues. In the Obama administration, there's like 17 people pointed out by Jon Stewart, 17 people from Goldman Sachs inside the American government. They're not inside the American government to benefit us. And a lot of them are talking about the situation as if they're good guys. And they're not good guys. And it's not what they say, it's what they do. So, again, welcome to the Second American Revolution, and I'll say some more later that hopefully is useful to you.